And a news update for really May 21st, Monday, 2018. I want to tell you something. I messed up yesterday. I said on the two videos I put out yesterday that it was May 21st on Sunday, but it was really May 20th. It's like April Fools in the month of May. I didn't know if you caught that or not, but subscribe down below. We have a lot to talk about the shooting that happened in Fayetteville, in Tennessee on Friday, where two teachers were killed and 8 students, along with 8 students. And they believe that the shooting all started over, well, that's kind of how it all took off. It all started over him being rejected by his girlfriend, which she was the first one, according to the ABC News report, that she was the first one to be shot out of all the other, the 2 teachers and the 8 other kids. She was the first one to get shot. And they said that he was really into guns and really liked killing animals, torturing animals is what they said. And they believed that he had a lot of Satan paraphernalia and also believed in Satan and studied the occult arts. And he had a lot of Nazi symbolisms. He had a tattoo on his body that was Nazi, and he had symbolisms on his trench coat that he had. But investigators don't really understand what set this boy off, but I think it's the rejection of the girl that he wanted to be with probably had a lot to do with it. And he's a teenager, and how they have a lot of hormones going, and I think also with all this obsession with firearms and with the satanic stuff that he was into, was really might have had something to do with it too. Demonic influences there might have been a part of it as well in the mix. And that combination, a cocktail, and he probably was on drug. He was probably on some medicine like most of these other people that were on psychotropic drugs, just like the other ones were on. And I think all this stuff in combination is probably what caused him to do all this. Because he was on a cocktail, a medicine, probably taking medicine for mood or anxiety or something. And that might have been what helps set and bolster that behavior. And it's a shame. There was a police officer who was shot. He sustained some pretty bad injuries, but he's still alive. He's in intensive care, but he's a hero, but he doesn't want to be called that. But that's what he was in Texas at that school, because he did shoot the person. So they can't really ask the guy, hey, why did you do this stuff? Because he's no longer alive. Like all the others, they were shot or killed, the gunmen. Most of them were, and he was. So, but that's basically what happened at the event there in Fayetteville. I think I'm saying that right, in Tennessee last Friday at high school. And the weird thing is, there's like weapons that are conveniently being missed. There was a crate of grenades that were missing off of a helicopter. I don't know how they were missing, but they ended up they said at that school on the roof. I don't know how they got there, but that's where they were, that same school. And that, they were also saying that was a drill, but like we know in past, like in Boston, Texas, with the pressure cookers, they found that on the scene there, like we're in Boston, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, when they had the race. Remember back then, they found those pressure cookers where they also had, there was pressure cookers there at the school, but they didn't go off, and other things like that were there that didn't go off. But I think they should use metal detectors, and they should have canines at the school that are canine officers that are there that go in the schools that check for guns and drugs, to sniff for that kind of stuff, because they can smell things like that. They're trained for that, and they have dogs that actually can smell bullets even when they haven't been fired, because they have a certain smell, and they've been trained to smell that. You can teach a dog to learn that, just like you can to detect certain drugs, and you can teach dogs on how to help and assist the disabled or people that have cancer or have seizures, epilepsy, really bad. They actually will help the person not have a seizure, or will warn the owner before they have an episode or something else with their diabetes. So, you can teach animals a lot of different things. But anyway, I don't know why. But so animals, I don't know why I went off on that, but you can. But let's get into the next story. The big story on Saturday, after this horrible, horrific shooting that happened, which is horrible. But to say a little bit about the wedding, one thing we know is that these two people that got married, Megan, from a native here from America in California, she married Charles III, I think I'm saying that right. But we know that England is post-Christian. They're against Christianity. And most of the people in England there's a lot of Muslim influence there. And it was kind of neat and interesting and really a miracle because there were some people who are speaking the gospel there. Not so much about the wedding or the fantasy or the love part, of them coming together is wonderful, but the gospel was preached there. I don't know if a lot of y'all missed that, but there were a lot of entourage of all kinds of people there that were post-Christian that were there. You got Oprah Winfrey that believes that all roads, could still get you to heaven. You can believe whatever you want, basically. She's into crystals and all kinds of things like that. And then you had Elton John, who is an avid homosexual. He was there at the wedding with the big glasses. And then you had a number of other people there, there's the two that immediately stick out in mind. And, you had this black man who was a bishop of the Episcopal Church, and you know how they are about immorality and how a lot of all this stuff happened, pretty much, with hold up a minute. They just had a power flicker. I don't know if they're messing with the power or whatever, but we've had, I know they've been doing a lot of work on it because of all the storms and stuff and all the flooding that's been going on, so we just had a little flick on the electricity. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So we had an entourage of that. We had a bishop going there that's a member of the Episcopal Church. He's like one of the bishops there, from the bishops of the Episcopal Church. He was there, a black, native African American, who was there preaching, and he preached the gospel and did a wonderful job. And then we had another guy that was there that actually was preaching the gospel too, another preacher there from the church, and it was there in the castle, Windsor Castle, at the church there. It was wonderful that the gospel was definitely preached there, that God did show up at that event and definitely preach the gospel to all those enclave of people that don't believe in Jesus or really don't really. So hopefully we'll have to see what kind of fruit does bear from that. But we do know that Jesus did show up that day through these men who were leading the wedding ceremony, the service, the preachers there. Because how they're post-Christian in that world, and there's a lot of Muslim influence in that area, and Islam influence. So it's kind of interesting how they were able to do that without causing any kind of, riff or kind of, causing any kind of instability there. But it's kind of interesting to see and also to both note that did take place, which is wonderful, that Jesus Christ was preached. That's the main thing. Even through a man that's a bishop and head of the Episcopal Church of America, how he was their black man there, how God was talking through him at that event, through the gospel being preached there at the wedding service there, as he was the main preacher there for the wedding, occasion. And that's interesting how God does do that, and it's wonderful how he was there. But like I'm saying, I don't know, other people, they cover this thing, about the wedding, about what she was wearing it covered about all the, them driving up in their cars and all that stuff. And really, the real thing that's real important is that the gospel was preached there. I think a lot of people miss that, but if you're a Christian, you didn't miss that. Because if you got to hear, I don't think they played the whole service. They played a part of it. But if you heard the whole service, there was a godly message that was spoken there. Even to a man that is the bishop of the Episcopal Church of America. And, they have a stance on, they're, allowed a first gay minister a woman minister to preach in a church. They really are openly about that in the Episcopal Church, but it's kind of interesting to see and how they are about, with immorality, how they have a lot of immorality that, in that church, and how their stance is on that. And it's kind of neat to see him preaching the gospel. But knowing the history of the Episcopal Church and all, but it's interestingly enough to know that he did that, at least anyway. And I just wanted to point that out to a lot of people, because I don't know if people saw that or not, or they might have missed it. But anyway, that's basically what happened on Saturday morning, over the weekend. And of course, back in other news, there has been some changes that Congress and the Senate has put into effect concerning weapons of Americans, carrying weapons. I think I would look at InfoWars because they cover it more, and also look at the other things that I transmit out from other independent news people that are out here that talk about that. There's a lady that actually has a channel on YouTube that I share her content or stream it. You might want to look at that, because she talks about those things that went into place on Friday regarding guns. And it might be an interest of you if you're a gun owner. And because I want to tell you, guns are not just used for sporting or for hunting events. No, they're used, like when they wrote it in the Constitution, it wasn't only for hunting and for sporting events. It was there for your protection. That's why it's that's why it's there in the amendments of our Constitution, because it was there to protect people from an oversized Darwellian type of government, because they were warning us about that. That's why they wrote it like that, so that would not happen, so people could be able to protect their families and the well-being of themselves from an Orwellian oversized government. And that's why that was written in there, not for just gaming and hunting, sporting events. No, for protecting yourself and your family. That's why you have the right to bear arms, and that shall not be infringed, which means it cannot be changed or modified or removed according to the wording. That's why it's written that way. But they try to do whatever they can to change everything, don't they? And they are. So they're trying to ban certain weapons, as you know, and that's how it all starts. Gun control starts just like that, and we can't allow them to ban any weapons. That's where we have to stand up and say no, because all guns are all weapons, and nothing should be banned. We have to just do more measures, like train, teachers to have guns in a locked locker in their room that's maybe underneath their desk, or maybe in a locked case in a desk drawer in the classroom, and they could use it with a handprint, and they're trained and they know how to use a firearm. And when somebody comes in there like that crazy man did, they could pull it out and they could shoot him right between the eyes. And all it would take is one bullet, and that would stop him. That would stop me, and it would stop anybody, one shot. And, that's all they have to do. And that would diffuse all these shootings that we see. And not so many people would die, because the teacher would be able to stop it before it even got started. And that's why you have to have good trained men and women who know how to use a gun weapon and know how to train and have to be trained on it. That way they could use it and shoot the guy quickly and efficiently. And yeah, they might have to see somebody get killed, but that sometimes happens in life. I mean, I've seen dead people, and no, it's not a fun thing to see a dead person on the ground or in a ditch, but I've seen it, and they were really dead. Or seeing a dead person in a car. And you have to come over there and rescue people, and you do sometimes come there, but they're already deceased, they're gone. And it is not a good thing to see, but it is a part of life. I'm not saying it's something that should go on every day, and every day you're not going to see it, but every once in a while, if you live here long enough on this planet, like I've said to the Shields, you're going to see things like that sometimes, really, not just on TV or on the internet. You're going to come in contact with dead people, because it's a part of life. Death is what happens when people die. And it's sad, but it is true. Oh, did you hear at Purdue University and other universities across America, just to move on, but Did you hear that they are banning hiking and canoeing and camping activities? And you would think it's for the reasons, you would think it might be for other reasons, like sexual activity. No, it's not about that. Or maybe partying and having a lot of drugs. No, it's not about that. Now, the reason why they're banning it is because they're afraid that they're going to fall and get hurt because they're too far from the hospital if they need medical attention. And that's the reason why they banned it, because they all had an investigation committee, or their cell phone coverage won't work in the woods or in caves. So that's why they banned it. The diving committee, the caving committee, and the camping committee, the outdoor committee. So they just pulled the plug on those committees. It wasn't about what you think it would be about. No, it's about because they're afraid that they might fall and get hurt and the school might be sued or liable. That's how crazy it's getting in these schools. I'm telling you, that's why we have a lot of snowflakes coming from a lot of these secular universities and colleges. I'm telling you. Anyway, that's just some of the news. It's Michael DeSilvas for the news for May the 21st. You have been updated. Take care. We'll be back with more news. Love you. Be safe, everyone. God bless.